we talked about it yesterday with Richard Surrett. And if you didn't watch that stream last night, it was phenomenal. Richard Surrett is amazing. And I didn't even begin to tap into his knowledge and his wisdom. It has been alleged, it has been leaked by members of CSIS, which is Canadians Secret Intelligence Committee, something along those lines. Oh, CSIS. It's Canadian Secret Intelligence Services. It has been leaked to the media because Canada's Secret Service is so, what is the word when you've lost motivation? Discouraged? It's a dis word, people. Despaired. They're so despaired and they're so demoralized, is the word I'm looking for, that they need to leak to the media recommendations that they gave to the Liberal Party that you might want to be careful because it looks like you kind of have been infiltrated by the Chinese Communist Party. Disheartened, demoralized, corrupt are some of the Canadian Security Intelligence Services. Thank you. Demoralized. They're so demoralized, disillusioned, disenchanted. These are all synonyms. Castrated, coming out of the Rumble chat. They had to go to the media because Justin Trudeau was not listening to their recommendations that the Liberal government, this is not, both sides do it. No, the Liberal government has been literally infiltrated by the Chinese Communist Party. Now, bear in mind, these are just accusations. These are just allegations resulting from a leak from people who are in the CSIS, Canadian Intelligence. And the journalist that broke the story is a reputable journalist with a track record of accuracy. So you can't write it off that it's just some lunatic with a massive fro screaming at his camera. This is being reported by credible journalists. And it's effing shocking. And I'm going to say this. What Justin Trudeau's what Justin Trudeau's foundation just did, in my mind, confirms culpability. But let's start with the story. And it's not me. This one's coming out of, I had to make sure that it's a legit enterprise, which it is, the Niagara Independent. We're just going to read some allegations. This is Canada. Remember when Justin Trudeau said he had a basic admiration, he had an admiration for the basic dictatorship of China. And I didn't know until I did the interview with Richard Surrett last night that his father also seemed to have had an affinity for communists. Oh, look how beautiful it is. That's Justin Trudeau in front of the flag of China. As recently released CSIS documents reveal, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and I'm not calling them the Beijing Party, because people will make a distinction between the Chinese Communist Party and innocent Chinese citizens and Chinese Canadians who are the victims of the Chinese Communist Party. And when Justin Trudeau and any of his bought and paid for media try to refer to it as the Beijing Party to not promote discrimination against Chinese Canadians and Chinese citizens, they are actually empowering the abuse by the Chinese Communist Party. Went to great lengths to influence the outcome of Canada's two latest federal elections. While the major revelation makes top headlines across the country, the Prime Minister continues to play it off as a non-issue. Doesn't just play it off as a non-issue. He suggests there's something racist about making this a big story. He suggests that he doesn't have to listen to CSIS because CSIS doesn't dictate who gets elected and who gets booted from office if it's determined that they were receiving funds from the Chinese Communist Party. No. Real democracy means security does not have any recommendation or any role to play in saying, boot somebody from your cabinet because they are a compromised Chinese asset. Not me writing this. Who is this? Chris George, 5-minute read. We'll read it in 3 minutes. The Chinese Communist Party covertly influenced Canada's 2019 and 2021 general elections in order to re-elect a Liberal government. Oh, but if they really did it, why would they do it to influence only a minority government? They wouldn't do it. They would have done it for a majority. Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of stupid arguments. Let me steelman the stupid argument. If the Chinese Communist Party were going to interfere with Canadian federal elections, why would they only do it to ensure a minority Trudeau government and not do it so egregiously and produce results that no one would ever believe in their right mind and cause it to result in a Trudeau majority government. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I answer the question, that stupid question, by infusing it with facts that make it look like a stupid question? I went door to door in the 2021 election, getting signatures to run for the People's Party of Canada. I lived in Westmount Notre Dame de Grace region that has gone liberal for the last 3 decades, save and except for one time when, because of the riding map, they went NDP when Jack Layton was involved. My riding goes liberal as a reflexive rule. I jokingly said I could have run my dog for the Liberal Party. I could have put vote Winston for the Liberal Party, and Winston would have gotten elected. But over 50% of the riding votes Liberal. I don't even think so I went door to door in that riding. I did not meet one person who liked Justin Trudeau. Now, some of you are asking, how would I know? If I'm running for the PPC, they wouldn't tell me they like Justin Trudeau. Well, when I went door to door, they didn't know who the PPC was until I mentioned Maxime Bernier, and some of them actually refused to even sign so that I could get my name on the ballot. Everyone hated Justin Trudeau. It's like everyone loves Raymond. Everyone hates Justin. Everyone. And even longtime Liberals were saying, I don't know if I can vote for Justin this time. He's too much of a sack. I'm going to vote NDP. And I'm like, good, go waste your vote getting someone who's no better than Justin, a seat. Nobody liked Justin. The idea that Justin could have secured a majority government, that would have been like Joe Biden getting 81 million votes. I'm joking. Okay, sorry. So the argument, well, if they're going to interfere, why wouldn't they just make sure he got a majority government? It's a stupid hypothetical. A, because it would be implausible, laughably so on its face, and require a little too much fortification. And B, a Trudeau minority government, when propped up by the noobs at the NDP, is not much worse than a Trudeau majority government. So set that argument aside now. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau does not want Canadians to know about the Chinese operations in Canada. These are two threads that are woven through a never-ending story of intrigue, scandal, false narratives, serious matter, yada, yada, yada. Last Friday, the Globe and Mail published a full front-page story by veteran parliamentary reporter Robert Fife and Stephen Chase about clandestine operation run by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, to unduly interfere in the outcome of Canada's latest election. The news story begins, by the way, what does this sound like? What does this sound like? China employed a sophisticated strategy to disrupt Canada's democracy in the 2021 federal election campaign as Chinese diplomats and their proxies backed the re-election of Justin Trudeau's Liberals, but only to another minority government, and worked to defeat conservative politicians considered to be unfriendly to Beijing. Sounds a lot like that Time magazine article describing a secret cabal of well-funded individuals across all ideological spectrums who were changing the rules, changing the laws, controlling the flow of information. We'll skip to the essential stuff here. For days, the Globe and Mail ran a series of articles outlining a number of disturbing facts obtained from top secret Canadian security intelligence services, documents leaked to the paper. The CCP's foreign interference during the 2021 election included undeclared cash contributions, get that out of here, to candidates, misinformation about conservative foreign policy. Where does this sound familiar with? Having businesses hire international students to volunteer full-time for Liberal candidates, and providing cash refunds to donors for the portion of their donation not covered by federal tax credit. It's all allegations, people. In their news article, I'm just going to keep the paragraph I'm reading at the top. Fife and Chase also reported that the CCP is executing a strategic plan to target Canadian legislators, government officials, and business leaders, as well as academic and research and development institutions. CCP tactics include espionage, blackmail, bribery, and sexual seduction. Fang Fang would like to have a word with the CSIS. Blackmail, bribery. Remember a while back we talked about these apparent Chinese police stations that are, or Chinese security stations on Canadian soil? What they're only offering assistance to Chinese nationals. Oh yeah, it's assistance in that You have family back in China. We know where you live back in Canada. We can ruin your family's life in China if you don't do what it is that we're demanding that you do. That type of bribery. I mean, it all makes sense now looking back, but unfortunately, life can only be lived forwards. PM Trudeau's immediate response to the Globe and Mail front page story was to ignore the substance of the revelations, and he expressed concern over CSIS's leaked reports. Trudeau, in so much as said, "Move along, there's nothing to see here," it's certainly a sign that security within CSIS needs to be reviewed, and I'm expecting CSIS to take the issues very seriously. What's up? What do you want? It's on the floor. Get out of here. The dog got the bread. The dog got the bread. Take this and go give it to Mom, please.
Okay, Mom's not
Get
here.
out. Okay, well, it goes on. I'm going to share the link. Although if you followed us on Locals, you would have already seen this. For years, Trudeau and his ministers have downplayed suggestions of foreign interference in Canada's elections. The past few months, Trudeau has denied possible interference or nefarious activities by the CCP. This is the same CCP that Trudeau's government was training Chinese soldiers on Canadian soil for winter conditions. I was going to swear. Global News reporter Sam Cooper has also come forward with the evidence of a 2017 memo prepared for the PM that specifically warns of CCP influence on Canadian officials and institutions. The PMO memo was written by the Office of National Security and Intelligence Advisor at the request of the PM's Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, and provided the Privy Council clerk. I mean, I'll share it. It's worse than anybody could have actually possibly imagined. I mean, this is what it looks like when your government is penetrated by the cabinet of the world government. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. You have Klaus Schwab talking about having penetrated over half of the cabinet of Canada. And Justin Trudeau, he was one of my young global leaders. Yeah, he's very good. He follows good orders. He implements things without questioning. He's a very, very good young global leader. WEF, by Klaus Schwab's own admission, penetrating half of the Canadian cabinet. Justin Trudeau, I mean, just to put it all together now, training Chinese soldiers on Canadian soil for wintertime combat, donating 16 tons of Canadian PPE to China in February 2020, knowing the pandemic is coming, as a result of which long-term healthcare facilities were under-equipped, ill-equipped, and suffered seriously terrible consequences as a result of being under-equipped. Justin Trudeau, what was it? Taking the Trudeau Foundation, the Trudeau Foundation, taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from Chinese billionaires. And we talked about it yesterday. The person that Justin Trudeau suggested should look into this was the same person who was involved in the Trudeau Foundation when they were receiving funds from Chinese billionaires. Hold on, let me get that article. Don't trust me, by the way. Oh, but David, now you're trusting CTV News when you called them liars all the time. Sorry. Let me not mock the stupid argument. Let me just steelman it. Viva, aren't you a hypocrite for calling CTV News captured media, wholly bought media, purveyors of propaganda and disinformation, yet you rely on them and trust them when they run a story revealing the corruption of the very government you suggest pays them off? Yes. First of all, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. I use them specifically as the source because when they finally are compelled to bite the hand that feeds them, when they're finally compelled to tell the truth or to make admissions that run contrary to their historical narratives, to their historical defense of the government, you know that they are more credible of a source. Because if they didn't have to do it, they wouldn't do it. But they have to do it because it's too damn obvious now. And do I care where the information comes from when it's a news source confirming that the Trudeau Foundation is going to return $200,000 donation over possible connection to China? Oh no, I'm going to use it because this means that it must be even truer that they are finally compelled to admit it. But even when they do admit it and they're compelled to, rat out their boss, rat out the person that's been subsidizing their activities for, years, they still have to cover his ass. Possible connection. It's possible. Trudeau Foundation to return $200,000 donation over possible connection to China. Listen to this, people. This is just, it's too much. The Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation says it is returning $200,000 it received 7 years ago after a media report alleged a potential connection to Beijing. Do you see how they did it? So no, CTV News will remain government-subsidized propagandists, purveyors of disinformation, because even in the outrageous admission that they have to report on, listen to the qualifiers. Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation says it's returning $200,000 received 7 years ago. So long ago, you should have forgotten about it by now. After a media report, they won't say which one, alleged potential connections to Beijing. How many qualifiers do you have in there? 4 by my count. The Globe and Mail, citing unnamed national security source, published a report on an alleged plot by the Chinese government to influence Justin Trudeau after he became Liberal leader. The report alleged a Chinese billionaire was instructed by Beijing to donate $1 million to the Trudeau Foundation in 2014, a year before the Liberals came to power under Trudeau. The report says that he and a second wealthy Chinese businessman donated $1 million in honor of the elder Trudeau in 2016, including $200,000 to the foundation. You know, there's an old expression, I judge myself by the enemies I've made. Well, you can also judge yourself by the friends you've made. When the, indirectly, maybe directly, Chinese Communist Party is donating millions of dollars in honor of a family member, I'm not sure that's the type of honor that you want. Pascal Fournier, the president and CEO of the Trudeau Foundation now, which the prime minister has not been involved with since becoming leader. Isn't that convenient? Says the amount has been refunded. Oh, well, if it wasn't a problem, why would you refund it? Fournier's statement says, his statement, did anybody call? Let me see, maybe they did call him for additional statement. Fournier's statement says we cannot keep any donation that may have been sponsored by a foreign government and would not knowingly do so. Oh, we wouldn't knowingly do so. And the only reason we're giving it back now is that a whistleblower from Canada's secret intelligence services ratted us out. Well, now that I've become aware of this problem, of which I was entirely aware beforehand, but now the public knows about it, we're going to give it back and we're going to try to make ourselves look virtuous in doing it. CTV News, could you run an article that makes us look virtuous while we admit to treasonous wrongdoing? The Canadian press could not immediately reach the individual at the center of the report by the Globe and Mail, and said Tuesday he did not immediately respond to a request. This report by the Canadian press was first published March 1st. The moon sets above a Chinese flag in Beijing Thursday. Oh, what a bizarre picture to use as the image. So nothing to see here, people, and you're racist for thinking you see something. Oh, and let me see here. So One to Go 2017 says, even if Trudeau returns the $200,000 in campaign donations, the purpose of the donation was re-election. Returning loans is not justice. It accomplished exactly its intended purpose. Not just that. Interest, if you're lucky enough, you could get 5% interest if you have, if you have any money to invest with government bonds. But, the argument goes, you double your money every 7 years if you're lucky. Well, that should be $400,000. What? Sorry, I got distracted. It's me again. Sai says, Viva on fire today. Look, I get distracted by trolls sometimes, and I get distracted by flattery. $200,000. Here it is. Thanks. Mission accomplished. We've trained your soldiers. We've given you our PPE to the detriment of our own people. Oh, shit. We just got ratted out by a whistleblower in our secret service. I'll give it back. CTV News, Associated Press, be kind enough. Make me look good while you do it. Don't ask me too many questions. Oh, God. Excuse me. That wasn't a fart. That was the handles on my chair. Nothing to see here except the fall of your country into literal communism. I feel like an idiot because now, I laughed early on in the pandemic. I didn't laugh. I saw that meme. It says the end stage or the next variation, the next variant of COVID is communism. Canada has turned into a communist totalitarian regime under Justin Trudeau's leadership. No buts, no nothing. It's as clear as frickin' day.